right, good evening, everybody. Want to wish you all a very happy new year. We'll get started in just a moment, but if you could hear me and if we are streaming in 1080p, just go ahead and give us a thumbs up in the chat, and we'll get started in just a moment. Hopefully your 2024 is off to a phenomenal start. All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Walks and Wall Street. Today is January 2nd, 2023, and I want to welcome everybody back to 2024. Hopefully your new year's off to a fantastic start. We're going to be talking about a few things tonight on the live stream. Interesting action in the debt market today. Very interesting action. I think it's pretty healthy that the market gave some back today. The NASDAQ was down, S&P 500 and the Dow. But there was also a little bit of a sell-off in the debt market. So we had the bond market sell off a little bit here. We had rates spike, but then things normalized throughout the day. If we take a look at futures, we'll pull up the S&P 500 E-mini futures contract. We're currently about flat. We're down about 1 point. S&P is trading at 4,786. We'll go to the NASDAQ 100 futures contract, ticker symbol NQ. We were down pretty big today, but I want to turn everybody's attention to the, really historic extension above the 200-day moving average. So, according to, at the start of trading today, the NASDAQ 100 was trading almost 15% above the 200-day moving average. That's pretty historical extension. And usually when we get extended about 10 to 15% above the 200-day, the market generally tends to pull back, give some back, and correct a little bit. So I think that's normal. If you go to the 50-day moving average, we'll quickly change the 200 to a 50. We'll take a look at where the price level comes in. So on the NASDAQ 100, the 50-day moving average comes in right at around 16,000. So we have about 700 points to go until the market reaches the 50-day. Now, generally speaking, anytime in a new bull market, let's say if it lasts 24 months, you could expect the market to pull back 8 to 10 times to the 50-day. So those are generally about 5 to 8% corrections in the general market. So it's important to remember, if the indices give back on average about 8 to 10% in a correction, that means some of the individual stocks within those indices are probably going to correct maybe even more, right? Depending on the higher beta, particularly if it's these high beta tech companies. So just keep that in mind, right? We've had a really historic rip-roaring rally since the very end of October all the way into the end of the year, right? I mean, if you look at the NASDAQ 100 on October 26th, the Thursday, we were at 14,000 on the NASDAQ 100. All right, that was just in October. We've rallied over 3,000 points on the NASDAQ 100 into the end of the year. Probably a little bit of window dressing there. People want a big bonus. So look, January, February, even if this market pulls back and gives some back, I think that's nothing to worry about for now. I want to turn your attention to the bond market. We'll go ahead and look at the US 10-year here. We'll look at the chart of the US 10-year government bond. I'll bring you in behind the desk real quick. So you see we had a little bit of a correction in the bond market. We had bond prices selling off, and as we know, the inverse correlation there between bonds and yields. As the bond market sold off, yields spiked, but towards the tail end of the day, we had some more stability in the debt market, so we'll be keeping our eye on that. Another thing that we need to cover is the Institute for Supply Management PMI numbers. Okay, so as we remember, this is one of the greatest, or I should say one of my favorite leading economic indicators, is the Institute for Supply Management. The first business day of the month, they always report the manufacturing numbers, or the manufacturing PMI. So we'll go through those numbers tomorrow for November of 2023. And we will look at the trajectory of those PMIs. Are we going from contracting to neutral to growing in the manufacturing sector of the economy? And we'll sort of break that down. There's two components, right? The ISM report on business reports manufacturing activity, and they also report services, okay? Now, the manufacturing sector of the US economy makes up about 20% of GDP. 80% of the economy is services. However, one report isn't more important than the other. We should be taking these as equal weight. We can get a good look into the health of the US economy in terms of the manufacturing sector and the services sector. So I'll take you behind the desk one more time real quick. If you go to the Institute for Supply Management's website, which is going to be ismworld.org, they have an archive of all of their PMI data. And if you scroll to the bottom, or I should say about a third of the way down the page, this section is probably the most important piece of information because it is what the respondents are saying. So the survey gets sent out to, computer electronics manufacturers, machinery, heavy equipment, miscellaneous manufacturing, food and beverage, tobacco products, and the respondents give a forward-looking statement on the outlook of their business, right? So do they see orders growing? Do they see a backlog of inventory? Do they see demand on the horizon either increasing or decreasing? So I think these are important things to keep in mind as we are looking forward into the economy. Yet again, we'll review that tomorrow, but just please keep that in mind. It's a great resource, a free resource, ismworld.org. You can look at both the manufacturing PMI and the services PMI. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and close up the laptop here. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat, and we will get this live stream started. Last but not least, we will be sending out the first edition, okay, the first issue of our free investing newsletter this Thursday at 6:30. So if you'd like to be signed up to receive that free equity research piece, go ahead and scan the QR code on your screen. and punch in your email. And this Thursday, after the market closes, you will receive our free investing newsletter. This is the copy of the previous issue that we sent out just before the new year. We talked about small cap stocks in the Russell 2000. We talked about debt levels between the Russell 2000 in comparison to the S&P 500. So net debt to EBITDA, total debt to EBITDA, and net debt to total capital and total debt to total capital. We also talked about a record amount of dry powder on the sidelines as it relates to money accumulating in money markets. There's now over $6.1 trillion sitting dormant in money market accounts, accruing interest, waiting to be deployed into the market, not necessarily the equities market, potentially real estate, private equity, and venture capital. We also covered a couple lead generation ideas and some thematic investments for 2024. My number one thematic idea for 2024 is cybersecurity. We talked about the bond market, and then at the very, very end of the newsletter, we showcased our newest listing at 435 West 19th Street. This is a full floor penthouse, 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, spanning over 1,900 square feet with 742 square feet of outdoor space. If you want to see that exclusive property tour, go ahead, scan the QR code on your screen, or type !news, NEWS in the chat, and click the link to our Substack. All right, I'll go ahead and close up the laptop and let's get started in just a moment. Happy New Year to everybody. Oh, everybody, I forgot to mention. Apparently, we are potentially going to have a northeaster, I don't know how they pronounce it, a massive snowstorm, potentially, maybe hitting New York City on Saturday. However, if I had to make a prediction here, I think the snowstorm is going to miss us. I kind of hope it hits us, but in my view, I think it's going to completely miss us, and we're probably just going to get a ton of rain, which is unfortunate. So, all right, let me get the QR code out of the way, everybody, and let's get started. Hey, Jay Grant is here. Good to see you. Steph UF, always appreciate you joining. Christy Ann says, Happy New Year, Tom and team. Hope you're having a wonderful week so far. Sunshine After Rain, Gary Carpenter. Swearworks, I appreciate you joining us. Thanks for being a valued subscriber. I see Marcy M is joining us in the chat as well. Patricia Ivory, Alfonso S, good to see you. Jennifer, good to see you. Music List, Adrian. I'm seeing a lot of comments in the chat. I see Exploration is here too. John Casey Stein is here. Welcome. Headed election year. I know. I'm not looking forward to that either. And you know, that was one of the reasons why I chose cybersecurity as sort of the, thematic investment for 2024, right? At the beginning of every year, I just like to make a fun prediction. We sort of do this annually here at Walks on Wall Street. We make a prediction. What do you think is going to be the best performing sector in the market for the new year? Now, for me, not to repeat myself too many times, but I think it's going to be cybersecurity. Now, the odds are actually stacked against me here as we are overlooking 432 Park Avenue, and I'll tell you why. Because during election years, computer security, information technology, and enterprise software are actually historically the worst performing sectors in the market. It's kind of strange, right? But it's true. The energy sector historically is the best performing sector in the market during an election year. Now on Thursday, we are going to be doing a deep dive in the Behind the Street newsletter, sort of going line item by line item, every single sector in the market, and analyzing how they perform historically throughout election years. We've back tested this data over 50 years. So I think you guys are going to be really interested in that piece. I put a lot of work into it. But yeah, it's interesting, right? for whatever reason, like information technology, computer, semiconductors tend to be not the best, or I should say the least best performing sector in the market, while energy is the best. Chris B, what's up? This is Evening Tom. It's good to see you. Welcome, Chris B. Happy New Year. D is here. Always a pleasure. Brad's Brains says, hope the snow comes too. I want a vicarious snow walk. I know. Caitlin says, Happy New Year, Tom. Good to see you, Caitlin. I wouldn't be opposed to snow, honestly. I would not be opposed to snow because the thing in New York City, and I've noticed this pattern, I've noticed a trend. Every time we, forecast one of these major snowstorms, it never really materializes, almost never. So, look, I wouldn't be opposed to walking around on Saturday night in New York City in a crazy blizzard. I think that would actually be kind of fun. So, who knows? Fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll get some snow. Hey, Sal is here. What's up, Sal? Sal says, hi, Tom. Sal, wishing you a very happy New Year to you and your family, and thank you for joining us here tonight as we approach East 57th Street and Madison Avenue here on Billionaires Row. Let's see if they've taken down any of the holiday decorations. Billionaires Row looks good as always. Alan says that dog just took a dump. Yeah, happens a lot here in New York City. Musicless says Manhattan snow is slushy and nasty. That it is, my friend. Yeah, I mean, look, would I rather be outside in a blizzard or like a kind of a mix rain mess? Probably a blizzard, right? Because at least you could kind of walk around. It looks nice. It's fun. But if it's like a wintry mix, that's no fun for anybody, honestly. Sal says, you too, Tom. I'm predicting 3 inches of snow by Sunday. Hopefully you're right, my friend. Cody says it looks like it calmed down a lot tonight. Definitely a lot less tourist activity in the city. However, if you guys tuned into our live stream earlier today, I had about a 2-hour gap in my schedule. Lower Manhattan was actually pretty busy for Lower Manhattan, right? There was a lot of people down on Wall Street checking out the Christmas tree outside of the New York Stock Exchange, so it was decent activity down there. Wasn't too bad. Hey, Soho Joe says, I concur. Kevin Buffalo says, real blizzards are no fun. Oh, for sure. Yeah, well, Kevin Buffalo, right? I mean, a blizzard in New York City is like 7 inches of snow. That's what we considered a blizzard. You guys up there in Buffalo, New York, 7 inches of snow is just like a regular Tuesday afternoon, right? It's different here. If we get 7 inches of snow, they'll probably issue some sort of a warning, but yeah, I don't want like 2 feet of snow. That would be disastrous. But look, I think I was watching the news, not to make the entire stream about the weather, but I guess it's fun to talk about. I was watching the local news this morning, and apparently it hasn't snowed in 700 days in New York City. Now, I don't know if I can confirm that or deny, but I guess I'll take the news word for it. Apparently it hasn't snowed for a whole 700 days in New York City. Elizabeth Gill says, yep, 7 inches is nothing. Yeah, for everybody, all of our viewers in upstate New York, like Syracuse, what are some other places that get crazy snow? Rochester, what else? Buffalo, especially, right? Yeah, I mean, it's nothing compared to what you guys get, for sure. But, hey, the city, if it's like 20 degrees out and it snows 3 inches, I would much prefer that, 20 degrees and 3 inches of snow, over like 45 degrees and absolute downpouring rain. Because at least you can get around, right? Oh, that's right. Okay. So Tim says Oswego, New York. Oswego, New York, I believe is where we have one of our last functioning nuclear power plants. So yeah, Oswego, New York is all the way up there by Canada, pretty much, right? almost on the border. I believe there's a nuclear power plant up there. Jeff says, Tom, I went to school in Rochester. Would get 3 feet and still have class. Hilarious. Yeah, it doesn't work like that here. If we get 3 feet of snow, this city is going to be shut down for like 2 days. There's going to be no transportation. Yeah, that wouldn't work. The problem in Manhattan with the snow is if we really get over 8 inches, it comes down to where you're going to put the snow, right? I mean, think about it. Like in upstate New York, Binghamton, Rochester, Syracuse, the snow plows just pile the snow on the side of the road. The side of the road here is the sidewalk, so you're gonna have these ridiculous snow mounds, and you just really don't have any place to put it. That's the problem. So it makes getting around the city a big pain. So yeah, that's true. Elizabeth Gill says, yeah, because you have no place to put it. Interesting little pit stop here, everybody. I want to point out this building directly in front of us. You know how we've been talking a lot about distressed commercial real estate in New York City? How a lot of commercial operators are unfortunately falling on hard times due to extremely high vacancies and higher operating costs. So check this out. This building that we're looking at now, which is in a prime location, by the way, this is like the prime of prime locations, this building. It's 5 East 59th Street. Now, unfortunately, this is fallen on some hard times. The foreclosure auction is going to be on the 17th. So we'll see. I think this will probably go for about 30 million bucks, which is going to be a steal of a lifetime to whoever gets that, in my view. Because look where you are, right? Now, I believe this is 2 retail storefronts here, and you have 6 office spaces. So it's 6 office, 2 retail, completely vacant, totally blown out. I believe this used to be the old Playboy Club, and foreclosure auction will be on the 17th for anybody who's interested. I mean, look, you're right next to the Sherry Netherland Hotel, one of the most iconic hotels in all of New York City, right? And look what you're looking at. You're looking right at the Plaza Hotel, and just off to the left is the iconic flagship Apple store. So in my view, okay, I know a lot of people are pessimistic on the city, but whoever scoops this building up, okay, I think anything less than 40 million bucks is a steal. I think it's a steal and a half. I think it's a great location, it's a great property, and yeah. Anyway, hey Sherry, what's up? Good to see you. Happy New Year, Sherry. Welcome to New York City, right here, Central Park South. Oh, look at this dog here in the cart. So funny, right? Sorry, I got distracted. Hey, Mike Skate TV, what's up? Happy New Year to you. We are now directly on the corner of East 59th Street and 5th Avenue. You could just see the spire of the Empire State Building as well, lit up for the holidays. Line Sync is here, says Happy New Year, Tom, and all. If we had 7 inches of snow over here, everything would have to grind to a halt. Yeah, I mean, some cities are equipped to deal with it, some cities are not. I have a good buddy who's from Atlanta, Georgia, and he tells me that even if it's a dusting, things pretty much grind to a halt in Atlanta. It could be like 2-3 inches, school will be closed, everything, just because they don't have like the salt and they don't have the infrastructure to deal with it. So I get it. All right, this is the flagship Apple store here. Obviously, we covered the breaking news of Apple having to delist their Apple Watches on the marketplace. Let me just adjust the camera. Mary says, I think Tom needs to get a dog someday. I have one. I have a beagle pretty nice beagle, so Brian M. But guys, tonight on the live stream, we're gonna walk the same route. It's been a long day for me. However, I want to go to Rockefeller Center, and I want to see the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree at least a couple more times before they take it down. If you remember earlier in the day today, we were in Lower Manhattan, and we got to stop by the Christmas tree outside of the New York Stock Exchange. We saw exactly where they signed the Buttonwood Agreement, so it was pretty cool. Now, the holiday season has come to an end, so let's check out all of the holiday lights before they're gone until about 11 months from now. Hey, Scott, what's up? This is a great investment opportunity in distressed real estate and debt, but you have to be patient. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Scott. Now, in terms of, investing in like distressed properties here in Manhattan, particularly commercial office, you really have to have an iron stomach and a contrarian, I think this is a Y, Tesla Model Y. I was reading a Wall Street Journal article today that, I forget the Chinese auto OEM, I'm blanking on the name, but they surpassed Tesla sales for the first time in history for EVs in China. Anyway, you kind of have to be a little bit of a contrarian, right? Because if you turn, and I don't want to get political, trust me, it's 2024. I don't want to bog you guys down with the political nonsense. We're going to get enough of it, as we head to the election. But, a lot of people are pessimistic on New York City, and rightfully so, and I get that. And they're particularly pessimistic on the state of the commercial real estate market here. Now, there's going to be discounts, and there's already been significant discounts, and I think those discounts will be bought. And assuming some of the properties that we've talked about, I think investors are going to be rewarded quite handsomely. It is of my view, and again, I'm biased, so take this with a total grain of salt. I mean, I live in New York City, I sell real estate here, I do a live stream here, so I'm biased, right? So full disclosure. But I don't think you're never gonna kill New York. It's too much of an iconic city. People from all over the world generally want to be here, right? It's the most romanticized city in the world, in my opinion, and it attracts the top talent from all over the world, all walks of life. Not many other cities can say that. So I think it's gonna make a recovery, and I think this bear market in CRE that we're going through is going to be the best thing that ever happened to the city for a few reasons. It looks like the FDNY is coming. Hopefully everybody's all right. But I think this bear market in CRE is going to be the best thing that ever happened in the city, because if a lot of these properties go under, right, get sold at foreclosure auction, and then maybe people just, wait for demolition costs to come down and demo the buildings and just build brand new, or do office to condominium conversion, should the numbers work, well, that means New York City is going to get a lot of new product on the residential side, right? And that is much needed. That is much, much needed because, as everybody knows, right, we are in a housing crisis in New York City. We don't have virtually any supply, and the supply that we have is not affordable. I think we could all agree with that. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, conservative, Democrat, liberal, democratic, socialist. Housing is not affordable. And the one way to get housing prices down is to increase supply. So I think this sort of reset here in the city, with valuations coming down, letting investors step in, put capital to work, get new product on market. So, who knows? All right, we're outside of the Trump Tower here, as well as the Tiffany building. Nat is here, says hello, Tom. Good to see you. Jonathan from Florida is joining us. What's up, Jonathan? Welcome. Brendan O'Brien says New York City arguably best represents American, which doesn't really exist in the East. Abdul is here. Says, hey Tom, happy prosperous 2024. I appreciate it. John, welcome. Lance is here. Scott says, buy before low occupancy rates get worked out. Will be priced in the market before it improves. Scott, we were in Lower Manhattan today. It's funny that we're talking about this because we were doing a little bit of a tour of some of those buildings in Lower Manhattan. Now, as you may know, Lower Manhattan has the highest office vacancy in the city. And, oh, what is that? We'll check that out at the red light. It doesn't look like a Tesla. It looks like an EV taxi of some sort. But Lower Manhattan has the highest office vacancy anywhere in the city. And I think that's going to create a lot of opportunity for smaller startups, because there was a property manager that came on the stream. He said he was a property manager of a Class C office tower in Manhattan. And he said vacancy is very high. And he said, what do you think we could do to, fill our vacancy? Unfortunately, you're probably gonna have to slash prices, and that's going to attract, I think, a big startup culture. So one of the things that could happen out of all of this is a lot of this space in Lower Manhattan could be scooped up by a lot of, early stage startups that are just looking for, a place to run and gun and charge on their ideas. But again, they're going to have to be at fire sale prices per square foot. Because if you look in Midtown Manhattan, like One Vanderbilt, those leases are actually record leases in terms of the price per square foot. They're selling at very, very expensive rates because companies in general, they're downsizing in terms of total square footage overall, but they're upgrading in terms of quality to Class A. So for example, the Hudson Yards, 425 Park Avenue, One Vanderbilt. So look, I think if I was a CEO right now, or a startup founder, I would be looking to get some really, really good deals in the financial district to sign a lease. That's sort of where I would be looking, in my view. Hey, Rocket is here. What's up? Good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Democracy Forever says every time there is a gloom. Let me see. Yeah, every time there is gloom on New York City, there is a blockbuster announcement. I read that Prada is opening a huge flagship in Manhattan. I wouldn't doubt it at all. Hey, Lance says, hey Tom, I saw your walk this afternoon. Very good stream. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching, Lance, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Brad's Brain says, do you know of any REITs that are focusing on this right now? Not really. I'm trying to think. Like, I'm trying to express this view. Like, I guess the question is, like, how would you, so if we have this idea, if we have this thesis, how are we going to express our view in the market? For me, I want to express it in actually acquiring an equity stake in one of these properties, right? That would be ideal. Easier said than done. But I think that's how I would go about it. I'm working on it. We'll see. Maybe we'll have some announcements later. Okay, everybody. I want to point out this building. This is East 54th Street and 5th Avenue, okay? On the bottom, you obviously have the Coach store, but on the top floors, you have the Mandarin Oriental residences, the brand new residences here on 5th Avenue. Not to be confused with the Mandarin Oriental Hotel that's now in the Deutsche Bank Tower. So if you like the Mandarin Oriental brand, if you've stayed at the hotel in the former Time Warner Center, now Deutsche Bank Tower, if you've stayed in the Mandarin Oriental in Miami, for example, well, they have residences right here on East 54th Street that are stunning. Haven't been in there yet, but would love to preview some of those units. Maybe we'll have a tour coming up of some sort we could share with you guys. John's is so happy the crowds have thinned down around Rockefeller Center. It shaved 15 minutes off of my commute. For sure. Lockjaw says, hey bud, good to see you, Lockjaw. Jennifer says, Tom, what building would you like to have and what would you do with it? Oh, any building in New York? If I could just pick for fun. I love the Seagram building. I absolutely love the Seagram building. It's my favorite office tower in the city. It's right on Park Avenue. And the reason why I like it is because it's built a little bit further away from the street. It has a very nice sort of outdoor patio with 2 huge fountains. And during the summer, it's awesome to hang out there at the steps of the Seagram building. So that would be my choice. All right, this is St. Thomas Church. Right here on 5th Avenue. Let me go ahead and adjust the screen here. There we go. D says 130 William. Yeah, 130 William's also very nice. Now, speaking of Lower Manhattan, right, we took a little bit of a tour, walk around 130 William today on the outside. That was one of the best-selling, if not the best-selling condominium of 2022 in Manhattan. And it's interesting how you could have so much bifurcation in that market, right? Because, you know, not to sort of hammer on One Wall Street, we've been really hammering on that project, which I like the project, right? I don't want to come off as negative on it, because I really do like it. I mean that sincerely. But how could 2 projects in the same sort of vicinity, right? Not super close to one another, but same kind of neighborhood, right? One Wall Street is right on the corner of Broadway and Wall by Trinity Church. 130 William is right off of Fulton Street in William. You know, One Wall Street is about 20% sold, and 130 William is over like 95% sold, right? I think there's only a handful of sponsor units on the market, and then you have some resales, but it just really depends on how the property is marketed, the design, the architect, the amenities, and overall how big the building is, right? How fashionable is it? As we reviewed and we went over, you know, One Wall Street has over 500 units. So if you're charging that premium in terms of price per square foot for 500 units, well, it doesn't really feel as bespoke, you know, as, you know, sort of like having a one-on-one. So it's tough to move that. Plus, you know, 130 William generally has higher ceiling heights, larger windows, and One Wall Street kind of feels like you're living in an office building sometimes, because it was an office building. It was the largest office to condo conversion in the city's history. So, still a nice building. We sort of looked at it today and toured it today. Hey, Dan Sang, what's up? This is, hey Tom, how was the first work day of the year for you? It was good. I had a great day. You know, the city, it was a beautiful day. Sun was out all day. It was a little cold, but hey, it was good. Very, very good. What about you? Hopefully your day was fantastic as well. We're right outside of 53 West 53rd, which is another one of those buildings technically on New York City's Billionaires Row, nicknamed the MoMA building. Let's go across the street so you can see a little bit better view of it. Now, as I've said earlier on the live stream, earlier today, One Wall Street also has its private restaurant on the top floor, similar to the other Billionaires Row style buildings. So I think they just went too far all out. They shouldn't have gone so ultra luxury down there, just because I don't think the market is there yet for it. But look at this. Right here, across the street, is the very famous 53 West 53rd. Check it out. You can actually see into the pool and the lounge area there. And then that is the very unique architectural design at the top. There's some really good property tours in this building on YouTube. You can feel free to check it out, or if you want to know a little bit more about the building, you can check out Street Easy and read a little bit about it. But it's quite literally connected to MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, which is one of my favorite museums in New York City. Restaurants still look packed, everybody. Look at that. I think this is that what is it called? The Salt Bay restaurant? Whoever that is. I've never been here, but I guess it's pretty popular, pretty famous. Music list, did you say pool? Yes, there is a pool there where you could swim. There's also a pool at 1 Wall Street. It's a saltwater pool. It's beautiful. I think I have some footage of it on my YouTube channel. You may have to dig a little bit further back. All right, one more shot of 53 West 53rd. I want you to notice how the building sort of tapers off a little bit at the top. Kind of interesting, right? Now, right as we round this corner, this is 6th Avenue now, so we've walked from 5th Avenue to 6th. Right as we make this corner, you're gonna see my personal, well, I should say my third favorite building on New York City's Billionaires Row. Check this out. See this? That is 111 West 57th Street. It's called the Steinway Tower. And this is the skinniest residential apartment building in the entire world. And it sits right on New York City's Billionaires Row. So you could actually see into some of the full floor apartments here. Has unobstructed views of all of Midtown Manhattan on a very clear day. You could see all the way to the World Trade Center, and you also have unobstructed views to the north, overlooking Central Park all the way to George Washington Bridge. And on a clear day, I think you could see to Connecticut. So you could see 3 different states from your apartment, which is quite wild. I'll give you another look at it. I want to bring you guys attention to another interesting project on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Now, if you've been watching Walks on Wall Street and been listening to the stream, we always talk about Extel. So Extel is my personal favorite developer in the city, most famously known for creating Billionaires Row, right, with 157. So 157 West 57th Street was the first building ever erected on 57th Street to be coined the name Billionaires Row, right? I think, is this an accident here? Or is this just a bus that's stuck? Oh no, I think it looks like an accident. Maybe the bus hit the moped? The Vespa? Hope not, hope he's all right. You gotta be careful on those scooters. When you get hit by a bus on that thing, you don't really stand a chance. Dear God. Well, hope he's all right. But Extel, obviously famous for 157. Then they one-upped themselves and built Central Park Tower. Now they've built one of the tallest buildings on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, which I'm going to try to preview next week. I'm going to try to preview the building. Yeah, this looks like maybe there was some sort of accident here. Anyway, I'm going to try to preview that, get some footage. I'm going to do some diligence on the building. Just because, look, we like to track the notable new products, new development that's coming on the market, and Extel is definitely a developer to watch. But if you're sort of interested in all that stuff, if you scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email, we send out a free investing newsletter every other Thursday after the market closes. We also include a section where we include behind the scenes exclusive New York City property tours from our listings here at the Kirsten Jordan team at Douglas Elliman. If you scan the QR code and scroll all the way to the bottom, I included a behind the scenes exclusive look at our new penthouse listing on 19th Street. So the address is 435 West 19th Street, penthouse number 2. Let me know what you guys think about it. It's a full floor penthouse, about 1,900 square feet, and about 745 square feet of exterior space. Floor to ceiling glass windows, unobstructed views of all of Midtown Manhattan. You could see, what are some of the notable buildings you could see? Empire State Building, Chrysler Building, 432 Park. You could see the new 270 Park Avenue, all of the High Line. And you could also see unobstructed views of Hudson Yards. So let me know what you guys think. All right, we're actually going the wrong way. We got a little bit distracted by the Billionaires Row talk. So we are gonna make a U-turn and head down 6th Avenue and go to Rockefeller Center. But how crazy does 111 West 57th Street look? That is such a unique building. Hey, Mauricio says, hello Tom, Happy New Year. I do not see many tourists on the streets. Yeah, you know, Manhattan really empties out, I'd say, after the holidays. I think there's still some here, right? I was seeing them a lot today. Maybe we'll see a little bit more as we go towards Rockefeller Center. But yeah, city kind of empties out, which is kind of nice for the locals, I guess. Laytha's joining us. What's up, Laytha? Good to see you. Happy New Year to you. We're gonna go back down by the Alliance Bernstein building. Music list is how old is the building? It's not too old. I think they just completed in 2022 or 2021. It's brand new. All right, let's make this U-turn here. I know, Austin city limits is those buildings look like it could blow over in the wind. Well, they're very interesting. It's like architectural marvels, those buildings are, particularly 432 Park Avenue. So if you want to see something kind of cool, if you Google a picture of 432 Park, you'll notice that I don't know exactly how many floors, but you know, give or take every 15 floors, you can see directly through the core of the building. And they do that to keep the wind passing through and to keep the airflow from knocking over the building, right? Because the buildings are such teeny tiny surface area ratios. So also at the very tops of a lot of those buildings, they have these huge dampers, they're called, that sort of acts as a counterweight. So if the building sways to the left, the damper will sway to the right and act as a counterweight so the building doesn't fall over. I believe 432 Park Avenue has one, 111 West 57th Street, Central Park Tower definitely has one. It's kind of cool. It's wild, but that's kind of the engineering we have here in New York City. Hey, Jim says, Tom, it's 50 degrees here in Tampa, Florida, going down to 46 by sunrise. Jim, that's freezing for Tampa, Florida, my friend. Stay warm. Wow, Tampa, Florida getting down to 46 degrees. Jim, I'm gonna be in Miami Beach the 14th through the 20th. So just as a quick public service announcement for everybody, we will be doing these streams from downtown Miami and Mid Beach, as well as Palm Beach, starting January 14th. I'll be there from the 14th to the 20th. So just to let you know. Yeah, they already got rid of the holiday display here at the Hilton flagship location. Hey, Richard says, hey Tom, greetings from Costa Rica and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Wishing you and your family the best for the new year, and thank you for watching the live stream. I appreciate the support. This is Charles Schwab, this building right here. Wow, Brad says Tallahassee, Florida is getting down at 34 degrees tonight. That's insane. Now, my buddy that's in Miami has been telling me it's been pretty moderate, the temperatures in South Florida this year. Right, obviously Tallahassee is way up north, but even still, I think if you look at the weather right now, it's only like 67 degrees in Miami, Florida, which is cold. You know, last time I was in Miami was about a month ago, and at night it got down to like 65, 66 degrees. Everybody was wearing like winter jackets. It was kind of strange. I was walking around Brickell. People were wearing actual jackets like you would wear in New York. I was still walking around in my short sleeve t-shirt, but anyway. Hey, IPD is here, so it's also around 45 degrees in Daytona Beach. I think the whole east coast of the United States must be getting some major cold front. At the beginning of the live stream, we were talking about how we may be getting snow in New York City. We may be getting a snowstorm on Saturday. Hopefully we do. Hopefully we do. Hopefully about 5 inches or so. This is Nürburger Berman. 1290 Avenue of the Americas. This is a major asset manager right here, Nürburger Berman. I have a few friends who work here, and I love the lobby of the building, by the way, too. CW says, is it me or is the city dead tonight? So it's just you, because this is kind of how it usually is, right? We've been having inflated pedestrian traffic and tourist traffic due to the holidays, right? Now, as we head closer to Radio City Music Hall, Rockefeller Center, you're gonna notice a lot of pedestrian activity pick up. However, you usually have a major surge close to Christmas and New Year's. And then after New Year's Eve, the city kind of goes back to normal. Tourist activity drops off quite a bit. This is the UBS that had to take over Credit Suisse. So that's another thing I forgot to mention in our 2023 roundup, right? Think about how crazy 2023 was, with the Silicon Valley banking collapse, with the contagion with Credit Suisse, and UBS essentially taking over Credit Suisse. Then you had the massive cryptocurrency fraud with Sam Bankman-Fried. You had an explosion, massive sell-off in the bond market, rates going skyward, and based upon all that, we still had the S&P 500 finish up 24% on the year, and the NASDAQ 100 finish up 54%. Total, I mean, rip your face off rally into the end of the year, despite cataclysmic events happening in the market. You know, I repeated this last night, but one of my friends who's a very successful hedge fund manager always says that the market is designed to fool the majority of participants the majority of the time. And I think that 2023 was no exception to that rule. Look at this, Radio City Music Hall. Still have the Christmas tree up. Jonathan from Florida. It's just in the 60s here in Pompano Beach, Florida, but I still have my muscle shirt on, shorts and sandals. Love that. Scott's 10-year yield ended where it started. True. We had a mini bond market tizzy today, and then we sort of recorrected and came back. Karina Thompson is here, says the candy canes are still up. Indeed they are. I'm not too sure how much longer they'll be up, but hey, William says, hey Tom, it's 52 degrees tonight. What's up, William? Good to see you. Happy New Year. Wishing you and your family the best. We'll get another good look at the Radio City Music Hall Christmas tree, just because you never know. Hey, DJ Chris, what's going on, Tom? Hope you had a good New Year's. I did. It was great. I had a really, really good long weekend, but it's good to be back in action with all of you here. All right, it should start to buffer here a little bit. So just a forewarning. I think we'll just make it if we cross. We'll bang this right. Now, how many of you were able to see the Christmas Spectacular this year? This show is fantastic. This was the first year since I was like a little kid going to the Christmas Spectacular starring the Rockettes. I give it a 10 out of 10. It was a phenomenal show. Well worth every penny. I would say that if you're visiting New York City next year, this thing is a must do here at Radio City. You know, I had pretty good seats there, and I think I paid like $150 a ticket, I think. But it was worth it. Well worth it. Worth every penny. It was a fantastic show. Yeah, DJ Chris says, yeah, did you end up going to see the Rockettes? I did. I saw it just before Christmas, and it was phenomenal. It was awesome. They outdid themselves. It was great. Leida says, Tom, I've never seen the Rockettes. So many opportunities and never went. I say it's a must, I think. So if you find yourself back in New York City during the holidays, I think you should go. It's worth the money. And you don't need to spend $150 on the tickets. You can get, regular tickets, depending on the day and the time you go, probably like $50. It's not bad, actually. Neil Green, I agree. All right, here we go. One last look at the Christmas tree here. And S says it's well worth it for sure. I was fortunate enough to see the Rockettes and the Nutcracker this year. So I was supposed to see the Nutcracker because we have a mutual friend who performs in the show, but I didn't get a chance to go this year, unfortunately. Kevin Lee, what's up? Happy New Year. JFC says, how far in advance should I book for December 2024? Honestly, I don't think you need to book too far in advance. I literally walked in the box office and bought the tickets a day before I went, because I wanted to get a physical copy of the ticket. However, even if you go in the box office at Radio City Music Hall, apparently they don't have any physical tickets anymore. It's all virtual, it's all online. So there's really no reason to go to the box office, right? All right, what do you guys think? This is probably I don't even know when they take this down, but this is probably the last couple of days it's gonna be up. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams almost every day, starting at 8:30. DC322 says they take it down January 13th. Oh, well, that's good. At least they leave it up. Let's see how many people are at the ice skating rink. Wow, okay, so this is where all the people are. It's actually a full house. Look at this. Ice skating rink is packed. Let's see if I can get you a shot over the railing. How does the wide-angle camera lens look? Let's head out. Hey Sharon, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. let's head back down. I don't know if we'll be able to make our way through the crowd here. We'll try our best. I think I'm gonna miss this thing, honestly. Usually I'm not too big of a fan of the Saks Fifth Avenue light show after the first maybe month. But this one's actually really nice. I've never tired of this yet. And I've seen it a million times. Mark Francis 786. How do they top that next year? I'm not even too sure. We might as well do one more pass at the windows before they take them down. And maybe we'll go down to Macy's and look at those. Rendon says, where's Madison Square Garden? 34th Street, where we will go there today. The Manhattan Bridge. Mary says these are better than Macy's. Now tomorrow we're going to be doing a deep dive into the Institute for Supply Management PMI numbers. Just a quick review, the first business day of every single month, the Institute for Supply Management releases the Purchasing Managers Index, essentially gauging the health of the manufacturing sector in the US economy. So tomorrow we'll do a deep dive into that. Again, if you want to review the report before we do the deep dive, just go to the Institute for Supply Management's website and the report will be posted there at 10 a.m. I think it should be there now. But again, that's one of the most important leading economic indicators for the market, both the manufacturing report and the services report. As we know, in the United States, the manufacturing sector, the economy makes up about 20%, while 80% is services. However, both reports should be of equal weight. So you shouldn't take into consideration the services report more so than the manufacturing, and vice versa. Yeah, Foxing says the wheel is so pretty, I'll miss it in future streams. I think I will too. Now, if they're taking down the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree on the 12th, that means they're probably gonna take that down too. This is the Diamond District in New York City. We might as well take a quick walk down the Diamond District. We haven't been here in a long time. Speaking of the Diamond District, I think gold is back over $2,000 an ounce. And in 2023, we hit an all-time record high in gold, $2,150 an ounce. Who knows, maybe this year, 2024, will be a breakout year for gold. It's an election year, lots of uncertainty. Who knows? Hey, Estelle says, hey Tom, CBS Morning News had a story on the penthouse at Central Park Tower. Wow, it is gorgeous. I could imagine. I didn't see that. But I'll be at Central Park Tower later this week. I'll be at, not the penthouse, but I'll be in one of the units. Oh, this is a really unique angle. Look at that. This is One Vanderbilt. And if you look closely right here, you could see Summit at One Vanderbilt, which is one of the greatest observation decks in the city. Although I've never been. It's one of the greatest observation decks that I recommend all the time, and I've never been to it. How ironic is that? Anyway. Hey, Scott says ISM manufacturing has been below 50 while the economy was roaring. Yeah, so I think a lot of people misinterpret the data. So how I was taught, and it depends on how people were taught, the way I was taught to interpret the data is not necessarily the number, right? So generally speaking, a reading 50 or above signals expansion in the manufacturing sector of the US economy. A reading below 50 signals contraction. However, what's more important is not the number, it's the trajectory of the PMIs. That's why the way I was taught is build a financial model, which I can share with you guys. For some reason, Substack won't let me embed Microsoft Excel links. Is anybody familiar with Substack that may be able to help me out with that? I would like to share Excel documents. Substack does not let you do that. Anyway, so you should always plot the ISM PMIs at once they come out, right? And you'll sort of see when the PMIs start to roll over and when they start to hit their trough and when they start to hit their peak. So a lot of market participants, and even a lot of major analysts at major banks, they'll say, oh, the ISM PMI is at 55, all good, right? But they didn't look at the previous 3 months where it went from 58, 57, 55, 54, and it showed the PMIs rolling over quite substantially. So if you look at where the PMIs bottomed, right, quote unquote bottomed, you can see a clear trajectory, or at least a bottoming out in those PMIs. And we could hammer down into the subcategories, whether orders, new orders, is it growing, contracting, and at what rate, things like that. But you're right. You're 100% right, actually. The market has been roaring and readings have been below 50. So you're 1,000% right. Let's see if we can see like a ticker. Sometimes they'll put the prices, like live prices of bullion and things like that. At least they used to. They take everything down at night. Now, it's a crazy juxtaposition here because during the day, oh my God, the Diamond District is packed. All these gates will be up, people walking in and out, you know, buying and selling jewelry. It's crazy. It's very cool to see the Diamond District during the day, but at night, it looks like a ghost town. It almost looks like it's abandoned, but it's not. They just move all the valuables to the back for obvious reasons. I think there's been some major theft type deals in the past. All right, let's round this corner and head down. Looks like there was a Rangers game today. Hey, Jafet Perez, what's up?
I have to go to the bathroom.
Mariana, Texas is joining us. Nakos says, hey Tom, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. I appreciate you. Adrian says, Tom, thank you for these walks. No problem. Thank you so much. Oh, did the Rangers lose? Stephen Bates saying the Rangers lost tonight. Got it. Mariana, Texas, thank you so much for watching. Have a very peaceful sleep and a wonderful Wednesday tomorrow. We'll see if we can get all the way down to 34th Street, Herald Square. But if you are all enjoying the live stream so far tonight, you can feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. And if you want to receive our free investing newsletter, we send it out every other Thursday after the market closes. We will be sending out our first edition of the Behind the Street newsletter this Thursday, where we will be talking about the Institute for Supply Management PMI numbers. We'll also be talking about the bond market. We'll do a little bit of a deep dive into the fixed income world, and maybe do a little bit of a deeper dive into some thematic ideas for 2024. Hey, Zozo Bob. What's up? Zozo Bob, I'll be back in Miami, Florida, the 14th through the 20th. Looking forward to it. I'll be meeting with a few developers. Who knows? Maybe we'll land a few projects just north of Fort Lauderdale. I think that would be good. Hopefully it's hot when I'm down there too. It's been very mild, very cold in South Florida, I've heard this year, particularly this winter. All right, let me get the QR code out of the way. Hey, Anthony's. Hey, Tom, wondering what your sleep schedule looks like. I usually always get 8 hours plus. Many people think that I don't, but I think it's important. I think you need to prioritize sleep as much as possible. I think very early on in my career, I did not prioritize sleep, and I think that's one of my regrets. But you know, when you're a little bit younger, you can kind of afford to do that. But as you get older, I think the quality of your work degrades significantly, in my experience. If I don't get 8 hours of sleep, the quality of the work that I put out during the day completely just falls off a cliff. I guess you could say productivity. So it's important. So get 8 hours of sleep. Ooh, look at this. Look at how cool this shot is. Unobstructed view of the spire of the Empire State Building. IPD says you're not like Ryan Serhant that works till 11 p.m. and then gets up at 4 a.m. for the gym. No, I am not up at I am not getting up at 4 a.m. For the gym. I do not. Phil says, Tom, any timeline when Fed may lower rates? I need to take out a loan to rebuild the deck, and loans are high right now. It has me nervous. Well, I don't know. If you look at the bond market's pricing in about 75 basis points worth of cuts next year. Today, we actually heard from the Federal Reserve as they released their minutes for the last FOMC meeting of 2023. Nothing new, nothing really new at all, right? At the last FOMC meeting, the Federal Reserve left rates unchanged at 5.25% to 5.5%. But you know, the last 3 months of the year, we've had a massive rally in the bond market. I mean, a huge rip-roaring rally. You know, look at ticker symbol TLT, 20-year plus bond, or you could just go to cnbc.com/bonds and look at the entire yield curve. But I mean, who knows? We'll see. I was reading something funny today that this time last year, almost every single major investment bank was forecasting a hard landing and a recession in 2023 and negative returns for the stock market. What we got was pretty soft-ish landing, right? And rip-roaring rally for the stock market. Equity returns were gangbusters, right? The NASDAQ had its highest return since 1999. And now, a lot of the major investment banks are forecasting rate cuts for next year and a very soft landing. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen. The market is designed to fool the majority of people the majority of the time. I just thought that was so crazy, right? You have consensus on Wall Street last year that we would have had a mild recession or a harsh recession in 2023 and muted equity returns, and we got the exact opposite of that this year, right? Scott's is I had hard landing but with low confidence. Scott's, the Powell pivot drove markets in Q4. He came off as a bit dovish, I agree, but also he did say that they are going to remain steadfast to get inflation back down to the 2% target. So we'll see what's going to happen. In my view, and again, this is just an opinionated statement. It doesn't mean I'm right, okay? I mean, everybody has their opinions. I'm wrong most of the time, just like everybody else is wrong most of the time. The category in CPI to watch, in my opinion, continues to be shelter costs, right? Because shelter makes up about 40% of CPI. And if you look at every individual category, actually, I'll do you guys one better. If you type !CPI in the chat, once again, !CPI in the chat, it's going to take you to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, where they have an interactive graph with every single subcategory of CPI. And you'll notice something, right? You'll notice that energy rolled over. You'll notice that oil, gas rolled over, completely collapsed. And the laggard in CPI has been shelter, right? And we've talked about why multiple times. In every business cycle, it's always the same, right? Almost always the same, because you have assets correcting in order of liquidity. We wrote an article on this. Let's just get away from the Jay-Z music here. And we wrote an article on this called In Order of Liquidity. So as interest rates go up, right, as we transition from quantitative easing to quantitative tightening, I don't know what happened here. The more liquid the asset class, the faster it adjusts for a higher interest rate environment, right? So on Wall Street, one of the main ways that investors evaluate companies is through something called a discounted cash flow model. So when you have a discount rate that is very high, right, the present value of a company's future cash flows decreases. And as you have interest rates or your discount rate very low, the present value of that company's future cash flows are worth more. So just hold that thought 1 second. I got to plug you guys in. See, as it gets a little bit colder, our battery dies a little bit. But that's why, you know, in 2021, I should say at the very end of 2021, 2022, a lot of the high beta, you know, like SaaS stocks, like the poster child for that is probably the ARK funds, right? The ARK innovative ETFs. They got hammered, you know. Real estate takes a long time to reprice because it's an illiquid asset. So if you go type CPI in the chat, I want you to deselect every single category except shelter. Actually, excuse me, don't do that. Select shelter and select headline. And you'll notice the extreme lagged effect from shelter costs to headline CPI, right? The headline number rolled over and collapsed rather rapidly while shelter was still making new highs. So the reason why I say it's very important to look at shelter costs is because if that really starts to roll over and come down, you're looking at deflation, okay? Because if you have shelter making up 40% of the number, and what are we at right now? 7% in shelter? That's going to get us down to 2% in a very, very short amount of time. Should, right? The big assumption is if shelter costs continue to go down. So, we'll see. I mean, I'll ask you guys in the chat. Do you think that the federal chairman, our friend Jerome Powell, is going to be successful in getting inflation to the 2% target this year? Do we think we'll see a headline number of 2% in 2024? What do you think? Hey, Cynthia says, hey Tom, I'm a new subscriber and enjoying your videos. Question, were you born and raised in New York? You seem quite knowledgeable. Yes, but I come from the distant land of Nassau County, Massapequa. Go for Hokies is 2% this year? Nah, I say 4%. Wow, okay. Look, that's fair. That's fair, I get that. So you think inflation's gonna tick up this year? That's an interesting take. Maybe. I mean, look, inflation has had every opportunity to start to tick up again, particularly crude oil, but it hasn't, which tells me, right, that the energy trade is pretty much kind of, well, has been over for a while, right? I mean, you have wars raging in Eastern Europe. You have now wars raging in the Middle East with Hamas attacking Israel. So we've had every opportunity for crude oil to spike, and it hasn't. It's still well below $80 a barrel, I think, right? Where's crude oil trading at right now? Crude oil is like $77 a barrel, I think. I don't know. I haven't checked it in a couple days. But again, it kind of goes back to that narrative, right? That the market is designed to fool the majority of participants the majority of the time. Hey, so you would think that, if you have a war raging in the Middle East, you would think that you would have $100 plus crude oil, but we don't. So, hey, Robert Parker says, hey Tom, how are you? Just wanted to wish you a very happy new year, and may this year bring you lots of success. Appreciate that, and I'm wishing the same exact thing for you. Thank you so much. Benz is not under Democrat rule. Get ready for an insane year. Biden is set to destroy this country. Interesting take. I respect all political opinions. Democracy Forever says the good thing is that the USA is the biggest producer of oil in the world, and we are energy independent. Yes, that's correct. That's also another big narrative buster, right? And we wrote about this 2 weeks ago. Now, a lot of people, right? Again, not to get too political. I'm not a big politics guy, but it's funny how, the Democrats specifically claim that they're against big oil and, climate change this, climate change that, gaslighting here. And the Republicans are like, oh, you need to bring Republicans back in office so we can, be energy independent again. When the reality is, we've never drilled more oil in this country as we are right now, right? I think last year was a record year for the United States pulling oil out of the ground. So that's the reality, right? And I think that's why you see crude oil trading below $80 a barrel. So it's an interesting narrative buster. That's why I always say, if you're managing money professionally or your own account, right, for your family, you have to leave the politics totally out of it, right? Because it can skew your perception. I fall victim to that all the time. All the time. All right, let's cross here and continue to head down Broadway. And this will take us directly into Herald Square. Vacant Sam's. So are your strategic reserves replenished? No, they're not. They're at some of the lowest levels they've ever been, which leads me to believe crude oil may go a lot lower then, right? Because, and look, I could be totally wrong. We're just sort of having a back and forth discussion here. So, walk yourself through that logic, right? If our strategic petroleum reserves are yet depleted, and everybody's, pounding the table to say, why don't we fill it back up, fill it back up, fill it back up? Well, don't you think there's some very smart people in government that are pulling the levers that know a lot more than we do, that are saying, yeah, crude oil is going to go a lot lower, and we'll fill it back up when it's rock bottom price? I don't know. That's just a theory. It could be a false theory. Just throwing that out there. Hey, Props Productions, what's up? It's the Shake Shack here. Ben Thomas is no, there are no smart people in government. Maybe. Phyllis has never had Shake Shack. I tend to like Five Guys a little bit more than Shake Shack. What do you think? Micro says if we get into war, we will need oil right away. I would argue we're pretty much at war, right? Inadvertently with Russia. It's a proxy war. We're fanning the flames of the war. Again, no, I'm not trying to get political. I respect all, political beliefs, right? Whether you're on the right or the left. But that's how I see it. This war in Ukraine is dragged on for way too long. It's like a meat grinder. It's disgusting. But that fuels the military-industrial complex. All right, check this out. Man, that is a great shot. Now, if you stand over here, look at that. So from 1333 Broadway, you have an unbelievable shot of the Empire. That's incredible. So right across the street is 1350 Broadway. The building is owned by Empire State Realty Trust, which is the same company that owns the Empire State Building. Now, I hope this building doesn't get sold, because imagine if it gets sold and then they build some super mega tall structure here that would obstruct the view of the Empire State Building. That'd be such a travesty for the city. And it's already happened. So if you notice, well, not this building hasn't already been sold, but I'll give you an example. Madison Square Park, 23rd Street, Broadway. If you sit in Madison Square Park, I would say right on the corner, actually, I apologize, not Madison Square Park, right across the street, directly outside the Flatiron Building, used to be the best view of the Empire State Building, in my opinion. Now it's totally obstructed by a brand new super tall condo complex. So hopefully we'll have no more of that. Oh, look at this, right on time. So they're already starting to take down the holiday lights here at Macy's Herald Square. This actually looks like the first day they're taking them down. You can see the working crews taking them down right now. Hey, Ron. Says, I miss America so much. Wish I can come back soon. Please come back at your earliest convenience. We'd love to have you back. So they take it down and then they put it in this box truck and it probably goes into storage. It's kind of cool. Gopher Hokies, sounds like you have a cold. I do have a little cold. I'm getting over it. I'm almost like 99% over it. This will probably be totally taken down by tomorrow. right, let's make this right and head to Penn Station. I only have about a week and a half until I'm down in South Florida, so I'll have a couple days to relax. Hopefully it'll be hot out. We'll see. For me, if I can have a couple days in the sun, 75 to 80 degrees, bright sunshine, it's pretty much cures me 100%. Guys passing illegally in the bus lane. Hey, Estelle says it was gorgeous weather here today in South Florida. Love that. Mark Francis says it's only 57 in Miami. Yeah, hopefully in 2 weeks it'll be like 80 degrees, 85 degrees. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. And we'll see. Maybe on Saturday we'll be live streaming in a snowstorm. Who knows? To be determined. See them taking down all the Christmas stuff here. Zozo Bob's, the sun in Miami is just different. It is. It's totally different, man. I can't think about it anymore because I just can't think about it. I'm gonna get too much FOMO. All right, everybody, we made it back to Penn Station. So if you enjoyed the live stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. Click the subscribe button if you're new, share the show with your friends. And once again, if you want to sign up to receive our free investing newsletter, just scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email. And every other Thursday, we send out our free equity research piece. And at the very bottom, we include an exclusive property tour at one of our newest listings in the city. So guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, God bless, and very happy New Year. So Sharon, appreciate it. Zozo Bob, Sunshine After Rain, Touted Tara, Steve, SK, 1K Yellow, Mark Francis, Fun Feeds, Stephen Bate, Adrian, appreciate you. Always a bull market somewhere, you just need to know where to look. I'll see everybody right back here live from New York City tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Thanks, everybody. Take care.